Oh my god, what is up? It's been 3 weeks. That is a confluence of factors that I will slowly remember here as we record. We're not even obviously playing quite yet. I'm just about to go to work. I think I've got time enough to maybe at most do 3, but probably 2 episodes. I wanted to make some progress. I've been playing off the recording. In fact, this is the week I'm due back, and I am going to try to be back. It's Thanksgiving week, if that tells you anything. It is 11:23 at 2:42 p.m. 2021, the 11th month of the 23rd day of the 2021s. Lost it there for a minute. Either way, I've played. It's a confluence of 1, laziness, and 2, busy with work, as always, and being really tired after work, and then having the kids, and ultimately Grandma being 87 and just not being near as independent as she once was. So that's kind of where we are. But I've done some things. I have made... we did get the community editor back. So Oz and Grace. Oz was already super fucking strong, but they're OP. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I wanted to make them OP. I was bored and I wanted to make them OP. We've got some new people. She will probably go, I think. I'm going to have to get rid of some people. Emma is going to stay. She's glitched out, but she's a pathologist. And, yeah, she got some love in the community editor. I ain't gonna lie. So, what else has happened? As far as story is concerned, nothing. Because this whole playthrough would be useless if I had moved the story forward, of course. But I did find one thing, which I went to the old Snyder residence base. Yeah, here we go, the old Kirkman residence. And I haven't checked out the Snyder one, and I haven't looted the old church, because I figured, okay, there's more story. So I went to the old Kirkman residence. All these vehicles are full of stuff. I've been looting a bunch, as you can see. Looting, recruiting, a little bit of work with the community editor, but no story to speak of. Just made some progress so that we could keep moving forward, but no recording because of what I told you, and I'm sure it'll come to my mind as I go, but I really wanted to make sure I recorded before work because I know I won't be tired and not want to do anything before work. So let me... Well, that's perfect. Let's do that mission. Actually, I do have some set goals I know I wanted to do. Okay, here's the couple notes I found. We'll listen to this first. Let's definitely do that. And I definitely want to do the agriculturalist missions. I want to try to do all the Trumbull missions. Now, Halo Infinite's out December 8th, so I have like, what, 16 days? I think I've got like 2 weeks. But I was thinking about even being back this week because work is going to be a little bit spotty. But I need to finish this first. This page from Nat Wilkerson's personal journal describes a massive explosive trap set up. Okay, we read that one. And you know what? We read that one. Where is the note? Oh, maybe it's down here. Here we go. This was the note that was in the old Kirkman residence. Sonia, if you find this, Peter and I are heading to Marshall. Stands to reason it would have more to scavenge. I hope to see you there. Don't give up. So, and I also, you guys missed only one radio broadcast that was relevant, which is that the, Twilly, no, I'm just kidding, Lily, I don't know why Twilly came to mind, shout out Adventure Quest. You can see that these vehicles all have some stuff in them. This has been our main ride or die vehicle, though. Let's go do this mission, and then what I plan on doing after this mission is we're gonna move to the, no, I don't want to do that. I'm headed your way now. Where's it pinned at, though? Let's see it. Big base. Let's get a big base going. And because we're ready. We never really got to max out this Jurassic Junction, even though it's pretty badass. Oh, the thing that's happened, though, while we've been... You can see that by looting and killing and looting and killing and looting and killing, the difficulty has... Yeah. So OP characters or no, we're in a situation where death is an ever-present reality right now. We did the Red Talon mission, managed to kill... This has got a break on it, so it's doing a lot better than what it was, or a choke, I mean. I always forget that it's a choke instead of a break that you want on shotguns. But shotguns with a choke are just so much fun in this game now, since they buffed them. Really should probably rest Whiskey, but I'm going to try to get him through this mission. See, that attracted so many of them in. And there, yeah, you can just see that. Oh shit, there was still a feral. That while I've been gone and just playing and looting and playing and looting and killing stuff, I have made things pretty ridiculous, because this is a non-plague zone. See, we need to get this playthrough done before 28's out as well, because I figure it would make sense to do the Lone Wolf playthrough now on Providence Ridge, since they're going to give Providence Ridge a bunch of love. I just like the look of the sawn-off shotgun, too. Wonder why it is that sawn-off shotguns are illegal. I don't know that much about guns in real life, so I just know they're illegal. Okay, well, we kind of survived that, but we don't have our truck. But we're in a pretty good position as far as materials are concerned. Our base is just, we just have way too many people. I haven't gotten rid of anybody yet. They're Tressie. Definitely want to do Tressie's missions. Here's the deal. Cleo's dying, but I know how to save them. You in? Why would Cleo die? Is Cleo a person now? I don't understand. We found that information. I don't think they really said anything after that. I'm going to tell you, that was like pure instinct. I didn't even... I totally thought in my mind I was pressing the wrong button, but my fingers did something different. Cleo. What's a Cleo, and why are they dying?
Let me lay this out. I'll try to keep it simple. Cleo is a digital system designed for the widespread distribution of critical supplies to the population.
Oh.
Breaking down because it relies on satellites.
I thought these were like unauthorized deliveries, according to that one note. That was decrypted.
So you need my help to copy a computer program?
That's a drastic simplification, but yeah, close enough.
A few years from now, I could see us maybe even having movie theaters again.
All right, let's do Isby's missions. Isby's one of our favorites there from the old Heartland thing. I don't know that they're going to go into, or from Homecoming, yeah, which was called Heartland. They're going to get into just exactly what happened. Because when you leave Heartland, for those of you that have beat it, you're in good shape, man. Your base is fine. You got, if you played it well, you got a red talent operator. You've got a super OP base. You're probably decked out with supplies. I mean, the only thing that's hard about Homecoming is the fact that it's all Blood Plague all the time. There was no choice but to sneak there. I don't have the stuff to deal with a Juggernaut. That was, again, instinct. That's kind of weird. And yes, just so many hours in this game at this point. I wasn't even thinking. I just crouched and got past that. So that's cool. I guess we've put our time in. I'm sure the game will be completely different for State of Decay 3, and we'll have to relearn it all over again. You know, a lot of people still say State of Decay 1 is better, and I completely disagree. I loved State of Decay 1. I've complimented it to death. I've made videos on it. I've talked ad nauseum about some things that I thought in State of Decay 1 were better and did. You know, I think that Lifeline was much better than Daybreak. I think that Breakdown is still arguably the best DLC they've ever done. But in terms of pure depth, content, just plain old things to do, things to think about, things to min and max. Oh, hold on. I don't see him. What he said. It's like Interstellar. We're chasing down that drone in the truck at the opening of that movie.
Didn't I mention that before? Sorry, sometimes I skip over little details like that.
Oh. World building. State of Decay 2 is a better game. And I've heard people say the way that this is different and new. I'm glad this is scripted though, because if this was like what we're actually dealing with right now, this would be completely out of control. I've heard people argue two things that I completely disagree with in terms of State of Decay 1 and why it's better. One is that ferals used to be able to insta-kill you. And it's true. And Breakdown was super, super difficult because of it. But that's still not fun. You need to have it's like how I hate NPC headshots these days. Yeah, since they introduced that. In no video game is it fun to just randomly die without a chance to fight back. Even in games that are like purposely difficult, like Bloodborne or Dark Souls or Sekiro. I think I pronounced that correctly. It's on you. There's plenty of tells and warning signs or Cuphead. You know, it's like it teaches you what you have to do to avoid being hit, and then it's down to you.
I'm initiating the signal now.
Oh, by the way, in messing with Grace, I added something that I wish was in the game. Butchery. That's from Heartland. Actually, they made like a whole new skill, but then they don't introduce it. I kind of wish that they took a lot of that Heartland stuff besides the map, which I'm glad they finally did. But they develop new traits and new base facilities, and I don't see why that's not incorporated into the game. I would love to have a fire pit. Well, that's not going to be good. Oh god, I probably should have prepped for this mission better. Like, I brought a nearly sick person in, and I've got stuff to deal with ferals, kind of. The good thing is we have crazy infection resistance because of the fact we have a pathologist. Grace has infection resistance as a hero bonus. I think he's got infection resistance as a hero bonus or something. He's got something that helps him with that. Let's give him stealth. We need a marathon stealth character. See, I can keep 3 characters from this playthrough, and I know that Oz and Grace are going to make it. So the question is, who's going to be our 3rd guy? It's probably going to be Whiskey, but at the same time, the pathologist we have is pretty ridiculous. Biggest, most important thing in Lethal, I've decided, is infection resistance, because getting Blood Plague is the #1 thing that's going to kill you and your survivors and wear you down as far as resources are concerned. In the early going, that is. I got the chat bot up and and our chat window, and it feels a bit like the old days. I've been playing Halo Infinite a little bit off stream, or off, well, of course I've been off stream for over 6 months. I mean, everything's off stream, but definitely see myself playing it. Super fun so far. I've only had 1 session with it though. So #1 is ferals, and those being able to insta-kill you. Sorry, I lost my train of thought on that. And disagree. I think that it's important in any game to have a tell and to actually teach the player what's going to happen. You can be really difficult. I love really hard difficulty, but like Doom is fun on hard difficulties because it's so precise and it's so well built that you don't get angry. The dynamic lighting looks better on the Mage Wheel than it does right now. We good? Oh, there's still this crawler. There's a lot of crawlers.
Okay, now let's see if it worked.
She hacked into the relay.
Hey, we just pulled the most complicated computer program in existence out of a network of orbiting satellites.
Enhance. Let me get in on this hacking.
Gotcha.
The doc rigged up a talk box for Cleo. I just need to hook them up and...
This stuff is so useless.
There. All connected. Cleo, can you hear us?
I'm probably wrong. There's probably somebody who's figured out that it's like the most OP thing. But I still think ammo's so limited that... His pants always been down around his ankles like that?
This is the Computerized Logistics and Executive Operations System. Hello, Bisbee.
Oh my gosh, we did it.
That acronym feels a little forced. Holy crap, an animation that actually fit the moment.
Thank you so much.
The
Oh, yeah, of course.
See you later.
mouth, though, not so much. Alright, let's switch characters before we do the next mission. Was that it? I don't... The mission's still saying it's up. Does she need back... Usually you take them, like, back to base, you know? I guess that's it. Yeah, okay, cool. Alright, so we communicated or downloaded Cleo. We now have possession of Cleo, I think is what occurred. I'm not completely positive. Second thing is the blood... Or the black fever. So Black Fever is Blood Plague. They've said that on a stream before. I went back and I was reviewing all the streams I did with the head writer. I still have like 2 streams to go, or 1, I'm not sure. I reviewed most of them though, and there wasn't really much new I was learning after like the second one. Because you start going back to like when State of Decay first came out. State of Decay 2 that is, and they're really close-lipped on everything and anything, so not a whole lot to learn there. Anyway, it's like the first time I've been back to base in a while, because the way that I was making it... Oh yeah, I put the Wizard Van in here because it's like the best vehicle in the game, and that's another thing where like, why are all these limited... At this stage in the game's life, why are all these limited edition vehicles not just in the world as random spawns? I like that Trumbull and the Homecoming map is more handcrafted than all the other maps. I do appreciate that, and I think that's actually a good idea. And I especially like that it has missions within the world per map. Makes it a lot more interesting, and I think that's a good path going forward. And we talked a little bit about endgame, and like how that could work for an endgame kind of legacy thing going forward for the next game. But let me finish the Black Fever thing first. So it is Blood Plague, and people I've heard argue that that is a better mechanic than the Blood Plague because it was random, so it was like the real zombie apocalypse in that you don't know if someone's going to get infected or not. But every zombie tale I've ever read or watched, and especially the Romero stuff that is really the... I mean, that's the origin. You got to respect George Romero. The man should have been a multi-millionaire. He should have copyrighted zombies. They're his baby at the end of the day. Let's make progress on our legacy real quick. Grace, as I say, she'll legacy the Homecoming. She was our first legacy when we first started State of Decay 2. Gonna be one of our last year. And let's... Oh, the music changed. Love this song. And let's bring out Oz, who is now wearing the duster and the cowboy hat and looks the part. And yeah, her name changed. Her name is now fucking the Gother, because that needed to be a thing. And she has as many pockets as you'll ever see. And that was all natural. That was not from the community editor. Where she's got some crazy stuff from the community editor. But sewing, resourcefulness, backpacking, and she keeps hidden pockets, which you can't see right now because it's overrun with all the other really strong traits that I gave her. But she is badass, and she was badass before I went ahead and made her even more badass. And again, because I wanted to.
Dangerous territory. Working to expand the reach of our broadcast. If you're listening, Twain, please know that we're keeping the faith. Not for the sheriff. We'd be in bad shape.
Alright, well, we've heard all that stuff before, so that's fine. She's a close combat expert, so we're not really worried about anything with that. Vehicles, I think I already have gas. I think I'll take the, I should have had this reloaded before I left. I should have taken the other one. Let me unload this, put that back, grab the other one, and then get out of here. Thinking. The Black Fever, that it was random, and I completely disagree. Again, you don't want your player to not feel like they have agency or control over the experience. Or, and especially not having agency, but when they feel like things are happening to them and they can't control it and it's random. Yeah, sure, like there's some fear in that. There's some dread and tension that comes with like, oh, you can randomly get sick, but everything in the lore of the zombies is, you know, it's in some way it spreads through bite, or the recently deceased get back up. I would loathe if you randomly got Blood Plague. And if you really want to play with that, here's the answer. Turn off your HUD. Turn off the HUD. Get rid of your UI and play that way. Those same people saying that they don't like the way the Blood Plague works, they feel like it should work like the Black Fever and be random, are the same people who refuse to play without a HUD. You can totally have the Blood Plague feel random if you just turn your HUD off. Yeah, I'm a good driver. And the second thing with that is not completely how that worked. It was not 100% random. Your people got, in the main story, only one character gets the black fever in State of Decay 1. And it's completely scripted into the game. The way that it works is that the pastor at the church, which is your first base, which I still got to go loot because I'm sure there'll be some lore in there. I wanted to wait for you guys before I did that. He gets it, and then you have to make like this executive decision on whether or not you're going to try to save him or whether you're going to shoot him. But see, Ed gets bit too, and he doesn't like get it and die. But they've got this whole thing that the sheriff wants to like kill him, and you got to make this decision on whether you're going to exile him or kill him. Let's listen here.
But it's a little dangerous. You game? There's a place just up the road that I left some important stuff in. But it's a little dangerous.
She's an amazingly strong trader to have in a lethal playthrough. If you're a new player, I would seriously suggest doing a lethal playthrough on Homecoming because there's just a lot more. If you're doing your first lethal playthrough, the Homecoming map, because you got some permanent people on this map to trade with and to use to your benefit, and there's more opportunities for influence.
Back when the world fell apart, the military rolled through, sweeping up anyone with scientific training. They even wanted folks working on their
Apparently they were more on it than you're led to believe.
right here, doing my field research. They found me. I didn't even have time to talk. Now you want help?
I'll trade her that note.
See what's left.
Oh, and that. I wonder what gun she uses.
Would you like to trade? Okay, yeah. So, you up for help? Good. That's good.
Alright, so she was one of the people swept up by the military to be a molecular biologist. And then what happened? Wonder if we're going to kill a heart, because I'm not ready to kill a heart. In fact, my plan with hearts is... Another thing we did get is a biomed station while I was looting away from the recording. Oh, that's real fucking good. And so I think the bloater gas bombs are probably going to be our answer. Probably going to take the old wizard van and go on the assault. But we wanted, the main thing about this playthrough was doing the Homecoming missions, so that's another reason I was okay with giving, you know, some OP characters, because I didn't want to like lose the playthrough midway through the story or feel too threatened while doing the story. We're still on lethal and you can still die. In fact, I lost a character that was edited up. Which, yeah, that's mostly on me, but still. I mean, when you get 3 Ferals and a Juggernaut and 2 Screamers and a Bloater, you're probably just going to die. Regardless of how good you are. Unless you get out. The answer is always to get out. So Blood Fever, Black Fever, let's finally finish this thought, was completely random. Let me pause and improve the mage well right quick. And there was one scripted thing. And the point I was trying to make is that it wasn't completely random. There was one scripted thing, and you had to make a decision, and it was to try to teach you, like, hey, this is how you exile people. This is how you euthanize people, and so on. That was only used once. Of course, it becomes a main thing of State of Decay 2, especially Nightmare and Lethal. But it was a mechanic they taught you how to do as if it was a tutorial, and clearly became a cut feature because there wasn't, like, a black fever. What there was that if you would get your people really low with morale, they would disappear or they would get sick with black fever, and then you wouldn't know how it would go. But it wasn't random. It only occurred. Selection of family foes belonging to trust. You made me risk my ass for personal belongings. Wonder if you eventually get to recruiter, because we still need an agriculturalist. I need to get rid of some people. She grew up in a barn. Reuben. My big cousin Reuben. I don't think I've ever heard those words together before in my life.
I was way smarter than Reuben. If he could do it, so could I.
Yeah.
I'd almost forgotten that day. And the people in that picture. I guess we should be getting back. I'm sure you have things to do.
That was an oddly easy mission that didn't seem to advance the story in any way, except for learning that the military swept through and grabbed important people. Home with the big window. So,
Even before the outbreak, the people living on farms like these were struggling to get by. Most of us were one bad harvest away from losing everything to the bank. I spent years of college and grad school learning the science behind it, finding ways to increase
Exposition.
yields, improve efficiency, whatever I could do to help. I never wanted to see another farm fail. Not anywhere.
Okay, so we're learning some backstory about Tressie. Make us care about her more. She was a scientist. She was incorporated into the military when they were getting the hell out. She grew up on a farm. Feels bad for farmers. Studied agriculture in school, which has a different name than agriculture, but I forget. But it's the science of agriculture. It has a name. And now she lives in the house with a big window, and she nearly died if we wouldn't have quit that night. But she has one of the coolest looking houses. See, this early on, I made a video talking about how every house in the game could be a potential base. And this just makes me feel like, yeah, every house in the base could have been, every house could have been a potential base.
This one just might work. You take care of yourself.
To be honest, they are approaching that. I should have looked at, that's 50. I probably sold it for what, like 9? I'll have to look back and see. Every house in the game is a base in the sense that outposts are greatly improved, and they're about to, with update 28, actually make them look lived in, both enclaves and outposts, which they could take even further, especially upgradable outposts. Like getting an aesthetic change to upgradable outposts would be really cool. Some barbed wire, or like a construction one, make it look like it's a Ford operating base, and there's all these construction materials being piled up inside of it to explain how you somehow managed to keep getting construction materials out of those. See, in State of Decay 1, one thing that went away that as another thing I guess we can say they did do better. I don't agree with the random stuff. Like, that's what I hear people argue the most, and that's why I made that point, was why do people want that stuff back? Because Black Fever was clearly just an early iteration of what would become the Blood Plague, both in the lore and in the game. The mechanics weren't completely worked out yet, and something they probably could do is make it so that if you have really high morale, the timer is longer, and if you have really low morale, then people just give up when they get bitten. That's probably something they could incorporate that would be more like Blood Fever or Black Fever. I'm gonna keep screwing that up. So, but the elements of State of Decay 1 that were like cool, this is where we talked about endgame. It's like State of Decay 1 with the weapon specializations that went more specific. That could 100% be the sort of endgame you're looking for State of Decay 3, where you get, let's say, 2 more trees to go down. You have to legacy that survivor, and then that survivor can get new traits akin to the community editor. And they'll learn things by going down a certain path, and it becomes like a role-playing game. I heard there's another YouTuber who does State of Decay stuff, and he was talking a little bit about how, like, it'd be cool if you could, like, get a ranger or a sniper or, like, things like that. They'll become something new more than just you're building them into something. But now that we're this deep into this world, these people would gain new rules. They wouldn't just be defined by their old rules, right? So if you legacy a survivor, that unlocks new trees, but particularly down the fighting and shooting tree. And then I think you have to make a distinction at that point. There would be a point where you have to decide. You can't just take all the skills down all the trees. You have to make this character, like, specifically they're very, very good at cardio. Specifically, they're very, very good at shooting. And that last set of trees would be something they've already done before, State of Decay 1, where you get a little more arcadey, and you get, oh, this character is, I'm going to specialize in just shotguns. That's something you could do in State of Decay 1. And then when you specialize in just shotguns, you got, like, incendiary rounds, or you could kill like 50 zombies in a single shot because your blast, you got so efficient at using shotguns, your blast was somehow wider. Kind of more arcadey stuff that really bends the rules of reality. Yeah, Oz is good. Oz is really good. Just go ahead and run behind a screamer and backstab it before it's able to get its shit out.
Be careful around freaks like that one.
what I wanted to do... My door's gonna go. Unless I get the hell out of here. It's kind of... One of the things I get frustrated by in Lethal Zone is how your car can be in perfect shape, but losing your... what I've learned is you actually should jump out of the vehicle. Don't stop the car and run out. You lose, like, half as much health by driving the car forward. And then, you see how lethal is still fucking lethal? By driving forward and rolling out. Because stopping the car like I used to do, all that happens is... swing and a miss. You're still sitting in it, and then you have to slowly get out of the car, and you're doing that, like, animation where you're clawing at your face and stuff. Now, notice she's not getting sick, though. I've seen it where she's gotten sick, but I think she's very similar to Squirrel in that there is so much infection resistance stacked up across all these characters now, but particularly on these two that were in the community editor, that they just refuse to get sick. But she can still get sick. I've seen it. It's just like it takes a full-on fucking... I don't know what it takes, but it takes a lot. Namely, it takes taking one of those, like Zedrenaline. That kind of stuff will immediately... make her, like, normal again. Which makes me think maybe the game you were never meant to be able to avoid infection altogether. But again, you can do this naturally. And that is dark. Sorry about that. We've shown that. In the last playthrough, I showed how you can... And this is not common knowledge, but it's out there. That information is out there. That if you have a field hospital and a infirmary too, and you do, what is it, like preemptive medicine or whatever? Let's see, I've got one. No, it's primary care. If you do primary care, then that's 100% infection resistance, and you literally are 100% immune to the blood plague at that point for over an hour. And what we had done in our playthrough is combine that with... what I want to go do is loot the church and let's go get in the big base. Let's call it an episode, though.